Shame I'm not reviewing the stacks right now, or the 600s, or the ELA closebacks. No, I'm reviewing this. It's been a long time coming, actually, and I should have got on this super early. Got it right before Christmas, and it's been a while. This is the FX Audio DAC-X6, and the question that everyone asked is the DAC-X6 for $65 better than my always recommended SMSL SD793-2, which I gave a rave review for $67, and so it's less money. Is it better? Yeah, it's at least as good. It's at least as good, but it's better in one blue USB cable-y way. The SD793 was a perfect solution if you had fiber optic output and you didn't want to mess with drivers. Fiber optic coaxial digital input only. This 12 volt, which is this glowy green thing. Line out, just like the SD793. Coaxial in, just like the SD793. Optical in, just like the S793. USB in. That changes things, because that makes this a sub $70 headphone amp, selectable optical, USB, coaxial, and a light up green when there is a signal, and there's only a signal on USB. Power switch, which doesn't kill? No, doesn't kill the DAC, which is good. That means when you shut this off, your music doesn't freak out. So I've got the lineouts going to the stacks over here, the 353 amp, because again, if you're gonna check a DAC, stacks. And while you can use this for, like, if you wanted to jump this out to an SA50, whoop. Well, there's your headphone amp, and there's your speaker amp. And you can get this in silver or black. You can get this in silver or black or gold. And you can just, that's, boom, you can just power your whole desk. Powered monitors, on the other hand, they're tricky with line outs because that's full volume. This doesn't control what's happening out the back. So you'd need some sort of volume control, either a shit sys, or if you can still find a control freak. I miss control freak so bad. So basically, shit sys, control freak, that Quest style, just preamp, it's 12 pounds. You need something. You need something to control the volume for powered monitors, or else you're gonna have to lower the volume on FooBar or in Windows, and then it's going to affect what's happening to the headphone. And it's just, this is better if you're doing speakers, passive speakers like these on an amp, or if you've got another amp, because a DAC in it is look, it's $60. It's not. Don't ask me in the comments, is this better than a Sanskrit? Is this better than a Madi? Is this better than an ODAC? It's not. It's close. It's close. I gotta do Mel Brooks. Because I'm pushing to the stacks, and if I can enjoy stacks through the DAC output of a $60 thing, DAC's decent. So if you buy a Dark Voice, you buy an HPV1, you buy some other amplifier, X7S from Monster headphones, you just boop. You gotta make that sound, boop, and it hooks up automatically, magically. And there you go. So let's talk about how it's powering my HT600s, which I'm wearing right now. So you got power, source switch. It's got 1/4 inch. Thank God it's 1/4 inch. I hate when it's 3.5 millimeter. 1/4 inch on an adapter. I don't know if it comes with an adapter. I actually can't find the box. Somehow in this clean, wonderful environment, I've lost something. But the volume is not smooth. It goes click, 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 click. And it's smooth and clicky at the same time, which is on a unique feeling. It's not digital. It's just, it locks every 8 degrees. Only volume, when you get a pot, usually the very, very bottom, you'll get a left and right channel imbalance. Only 3 clicks up, which is like, you could just tell they're working, and then 4, 5, and now it's even. Now, Ava Cassidy is not loud. Let me find something loud. Boom. Fluke Absurd, the whitewash edit. Now, the hardest part for an amp is the low end. So, if you don't listen to a lot of bass-heavy music, you'll probably be okay pushing hard-to-drive headphones on this all day. All day. Actually, all day, all day. No, all day. But once you get into something like 300 ohm headphones, it's getting a little bit at the top. You could just hear it's a $60 amp. It's not the DAC's fault. Obviously, it's not the DAC's fault. This bypasses all the things to do with the amplifier. This is just DAC that I'm listening to the stacks. Stacks, 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 stacks. Which am I saying? But the headphone amp, if you're pushing hard to drive, once you're trying to get loud with low end, it's going to start to sound like a $60 amp. However, we take these off. I'm going to eventually make this chair not creak like a haunted house, or fix my Herman Miller. That'll be on the other channel, the Zeos Pantera channel. Okay. So now these are easier to drive. Oh man, they're heavy. So now we're loud at noon and clean, and that's really, really loud. That's so loud that it, okay, no. It's got a little lack of, actually it lacks a little low end, and they do that on purpose probably when they build it because they want to keep it from distorting. And let's try another song, because that song's not remixes are never the best. And I'm just going to stare at the wallpaper for a while, which, although, by the way, link in the description of all the wallpapers. And in the same breath, wallpapers and Patreon link. And you know what I haven't done? I haven't given the patrons access to every wallpaper I've ever used. That sounds like a good promotional idea. All right, Patreon link in the corner, which I use to, when people send me things, I'll use that to ship it and shore back. I used to buy things like this when, you know, say, hey, review this. So I bought it via the Patreon. I will probably, it's so cheap, just keep it around. Because a lot of the things that I buy, if I don't need them afterwards, which I'm pretty set, I'll just, you know, blind silent auction, the highest bid, I don't, you know, $5. If you want it for $5, I'll pay shipping, done. But I think I'm going to make it so that the, you know, $2 tier maybe, and I'll just, big gallery of all the wallpapers I've ever used. People will sign up just for that. I'm a marketing genius, yes. Write my name on the Hall of Fame. Shake it off, shake it off. This will power 90% of all the headphones you're thinking about buying. Mark III's, I don't even have them up on the wall, but 600s, it will work if you're not going to try to push low end really loud. But AKGs, fine. Monoliths, fine. Ships, easy. If you're one of those people who comes to me and says, hey, do I need a DAC amp because I'm running ships and I got onboard? If you're running onboard, this is superior to onboard, guaranteed. Just, I can't think of an onboard sound card that will beat this. Ah, that hurt. Plus, you get the added benefit of, I don't know, volume control, like the knob. And you can output, so headphones. Now, it doesn't shut off the headphones while you're outputting to this, but you can just, actually, does it shut off the DAC? Gotta test something. Okay, so the volume raises and lowers that, but if I shut this off, no. Although perhaps at the DAC still output, but you need to have that on. But then you could just, like, I'm listening to speakers now, lower this volume down, And then you can, all right, now I'm listening, and you shut the amp off, and I'm listening to headphones. It's a good system. It's the best system. The best system is always separate hardware. You gotta have a headphone amp and DAC, and then an actual, get you again, speaker amp. And so I want to listen to speakers now. Volume down, turn on, volume up. I want to listen to headphones now. Volume up. RCA's across. I'll even include the link again to the guy who made me these, Ursine. Look at these things. I told him, make me red and blue so that I know where left and right is always in the two different lengths. And eventually these will get installed between my owns here because I have my normal cables and they're like another 8 inches longer than this. Even though they're short as hell, they're like 15 inches long. Yeah, okay. Thank you. Thank you, Postmodern Jukebox. This is a big deal because 793 was my go-to. The problem was it didn't have USB. And I would even tell people that were like, if you have a laptop, you're pretty fucked for buying a portable DAC amp. You have to have USB. And once you have to have USB, you were looking at spending, you know, Mica Origin. Actually, the SMSL M3 was the only one that came in under $100 that was usable. This has more power than the SMSL M3. It's bigger, and you need external. Here's the kicker. It's powered externally. Mica Origin, SMSL M3, Audio Engine D1. My brain is searching the archives now for a list of DAC amp combos that run off of USB power. Mica Origin, SMSL. I try to keep my list short, or else I'll lose my mind. But like those three. Looking around for other things. No, those three, those are USB powered. And once you have something that's only USB powered, only this little 5-volt see, here's the thing. There's high power USB. There's, you know, 2.5, 3, 5 amp. But the unit can't assume you're going to plug into that. So they're assuming 1 amp at 5 volts. And even though they can do power up conversion, you're limited to those things all having power outputs that are limited. This has a 12 volt 1 amp? 1 amp. 12 volt 1 amp instead of 5 volt 1 amp. So it can push harder than the Mica Origin, than the SMSL M3. The SD793, the one that I recommended before this existed, was powered by the wall. I think it was also 12 volt or it was 15 volt. And for hard drive headphones, it was that. You could also look at, then there was this thing that came along. Hello, it's my little SAP VI. I can't call it the 6 because if you look up SAP 6, it doesn't show up. The VI. And there's a crazy heavy duty 15 volt push pull. And this is only an amp. Pushes harder than this. But if you wanted to get, you know, just that was it. Under $100 is like a graveyard of things that either are shit or little gems. And this is a gem. It's a little gem that lives here under the $100 mark. So that would just be an amp. So you'd either be amplifying your onboard or your sound card or your phone or whatever through that. And I actually use that when I'm doing headphone recordings. That amplifies the output of my Tascam so I could use my 600s to monitor. But something like this is a no-brainer. It's a no-brainer. FX Audio made that they made the Q5 Pro competitor. That was the only other thing from FX Audio that I actually looked at and listened to. And I liked it. It had a couple quirks. It wasn't as developed as the Q5 Pro. So I gave it sort of like the yes, but the eh. Well, this has beaten the SMSL SD793 because it has USB input. I plugged it into this computer. It had never been plugged into this computer. I was using it on my laptop, using it on my other computer. Plugged it in today on this computer, and I watched the little check marks go yes, yes, yes. And it works. It works just fine. I did one thing, jumping through my list. I hit a 24-bit song, and for some reason it came out like garbled nonsense until I restarted that song. And that's just the decoder just being like, what? What are you feeding me? It's too early. It's too early for 24-bit 182 or whatever I was sending it. It could support it and eventually play that song once I restarted it, but it did have like a mini heart attack when I sent it the first time. So yes, finally. Zeos is finally doing something I could afford, everybody. Let's have a party. Of course, they'll all be sold out in like a week, so it doesn't matter. This is why you join Patreon also. Is so when I review something like this that you might actually want, you get the video first, you get one, and all those puppies, those poor puppies, man, they're not going to have a single one to choose from. I think I'm ready to move on. Yes.